The voice of sharing, Durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Breakfast Call. First and foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene and you're listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Good morning. This is the 24th of December, which is the last day before we celebrate Christmas. So I'm pretty excited that we are finally going towards the end of the end of the month. And of course, celebrating Christmas is one of the things that I look forward to. Besides celebrating Christmas, I'm also looking forward towards the end of the year, which is New Year, where I might do something fun. But anyway, we for us at Durian ASEAN, this is the last day we will report the ASEAN Breakfast Call news. Starting from next year, we will have a different kind of title for our news commentary. It will be called ASEAN Dailies, which we will report more from Southeast Asia and also from other news that concerns ASEAN. So for a start, I just want to say that for all my Christian friends and for all the people who out there are celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas. And for all Malaysians and all Southeast Asians, Happy New Year 2015. We hope that in the next year, which is unfortunately is the year of the green wooden ship. I don't know what does that mean, but next year definitely will be a year where Malaysia will be the chairman of ASEAN, as well as we will be transiting towards the ASEAN economic community, which is something that is exciting, as well as something that people probably might not be aware of, but they should. This is something new. And besides, we have a website. It's called ASEAN2015.gov.my that provides information and also updates and events on the ASEAN 2015. About news, I have to start with something that is not so good, which is the news about the flood in Kelantan. As we all know, Kelantan right now is facing Kelantan and Terengganu actually are facing quite a worsening floods, where victims are being evacuated to a more higher ground. And in Kelantan, 20,709 victims from more than 6,000 families in 8 districts were evacuated, compared to 20,468 people on Tuesday morning, while the number of flood relief centers increased to 84 from 70. Apparently, the water levels at 4 major rivers rose above the danger levels, with Sungai Golok at 10.34 meters, which is actually quite a danger level, because the minimum any level that is above 9 meters are actually considered very, very dangerous. And other rivers which have breached the danger levels were Sungai Galas, 42.8 meters in Dabong, Gua Musang, Sungai Lebir in Tualang. Gua Musang is about 40.27 meters, while Sungai Kelantan at Tangga Krai or in Kuala Krai is at 29.10 meters, and Sungai Kelantan at Gulimart Bridge, Tanah Merah, is at 17.95 meters. It seems like people from Kelantan and Terengganu are not going to be that happy and are not going to celebrate the year end with a happy face, because who can when you have to face such a major flood? I'm not sure how the Malaysian government is addressing this, but it seems like the Malaysian Drainage and Irrigation Department's website show 4 major rivers in Pahang, including 2 in Jerantut, having exceeded the danger levels. So far, residents in the affected areas were moved out late night and the Perlis National Security Council was monitoring the situation. So this is related to the ones in Perlis also having quite a flood as well, even though it's not as bad as Kelantan and Terengganu. So there you go, flood all the way from the northern side of Malaysia. So far, not many information about it other than it seems like the weather is really bad, continuous raining and increasing danger levels of water and rivers. So hopefully everything will be fine, hopefully. And another area that is not doing well is the race and religious politics in Malaysia. Well, it's really hard to say because in Malaysia we are a multicultural society. So for Malaysians to be able to celebrate multi festivals and you don't it's something of a bless, but it can be something of a confusion for some, I guess. But anyway, one of the interesting part is an UMNO minister actually wishes Merry Christmas to all on Twitter, and he ignored the very far right wing ISMA. It's a religious Malay organization that actually said celebrating Muslims should not celebrate Christmas or even wish Christians Merry Christmas, telling that Malay rights group to butt out as it does not represent the voice of all Muslim Malays. Well, according to this UMNO minister that I mentioned earlier, his name is Dato Abdul Rahman Dahlan, used the Twitter to blast his Merry Christmas wish to all Christians and even announce plans to host an even bigger Christmas celebration this year in his Sabah constituency, Kota Belud. This is his statement. Isma says, I can't greet my fellow Christian friends Merry Christmas. Well, I want to say it anyway. Merry Christmas, everyone. # One Malaysia. That is so sweet of him to even to dare to even do that. It's really sweet of him. And in retaliation, ISMA activist Abdul Amin was reported saying in a commentary that although it is natural for Muslims to show kindness to those of other faith, they should also be wary of how far they could go without violating Islamic principles. Especially at this time and age, Muslims should not be singled out as being unfriendly or not part of the community. How then can a simple wish be non-permissible in Islam? Many Muslims are also confused on how saying Merry Christmas and participating in Christmas celebration is considered a blasphemy for them. This is also another retaliation from the UMNO minister. So it seems like there is a war of words, war of ideology on whether we should wish Christmas or not. For me, personally, whatever that you think is right, whatever that can portray yourself as being a kind and gentle person, a person that is wise and considerate of others, as well as a person that celebrates diversity, just go ahead. Religion, just like a faith, it is internal. Like it or not, whatever you do or say, does not mean that you would it reflects your internal, but your internal part of yourself can reflect your externality. So if you feel strongly about your own religion and your own faith, doesn't matter, isn't it? It really doesn't matter. Well, that's just my personal opinion. Well, another part of the world, we have Thailand. Apparently, Thailand stems human trafficking into Brunei, or poor Brunei, getting all the human trafficking problems from Thailand. So Thailand will focus on increasing preventive measures to halt the trafficking of Thai nationals into Brunei, said that country's outgoing ambassador in Brunei. In an interview at the Brunei Times, Apichat Ratana expressed concern over the rising number of trafficking cases he has seen during his 3-year tenure as ambassador. He disclosed that a memorandum of understanding on human trafficking between Thailand and Brunei is 70 to 80% complete, aiming to facilitate better information sharing between law enforcement agencies of the two countries. This is actually going really well for the law enforcement of both Brunei and Thailand, wanting to put a halt on human trafficking. But how far it will address the issue, there's another question altogether. And nevertheless, Apichat said that there have been several cases of women trafficked to Brunei for sex work, as well as other victims of forced labor. And you wonder, Brunei is a country that practices Sharia law. That must be really harsh. So some victims were working in homes or companies and were exploited by employers. The income was not according to the agreement, and they work longer hours and with less attention to their welfare. This is nothing new. I mean, if you are talking about the abuse of labor and the lack of, or the weakness in terms of the law, or the weakness in terms of the protection towards workers' rights, it's quite a huge problem in Southeast Asia. I mean, Brunei is one thing. Malaysia is also another case that should be focused as well. For human trafficking, Malaysia is also one of the worst in terms of human trafficking in this region. So Thailand, you might want to work together with Malaysian forces as well. So anyway, since 2004, only 3 cases have been prosecuted in court owing to lack of strong evidence and victims being uncooperative in providing testimony. This is regarding on the on suspected human trafficking investigation back in 2013. They investigated 103 cases, although only 3 cases have been really judged in the court. In Brunei, it's a bit unique because of the law. So if you want to prove something, you have to have concrete evidence. So several criteria must be proved to obtain a conviction, such as the use of threats, deception, abuse of power, and recruitment or transport of an individual from the purpose of exploitation. However, the Attorney General Chambers said it is currently reviewing the trafficking and smuggling of persons order as part of efforts to improve the law combating trafficking in persons. So, I mean, that's true. I mean, if you are making the law very, very hard for the people to receive justice, especially they're being a victim of human trafficking, then how can you combat, even though you have a strong police forces? Just like you see here, the Royal Brunei Police Force actually had 183 cases of suspected human trafficking, but only 3 cases are being trialed. That's not a good number. It's really, really not a good number. Anyway, one thing that is kind of improving on the other side of Southeast Asia is Laos. Apparently, Laos is raising to leave tourism. For tourism professionals in the Lao People's Democratic Republic, these are very, very busy times and interesting times as well, especially for those who have the responsibility of bringing their country up to the sort of standards that will be necessary to reap the rewards of tourism that is growing faster and faster. Even as Lao authorities lobbied to get the Plain of Jars into UNESCO's World Heritage List. Plain of Jars is this very ancient artifact that is found in Laos, but it is unexplainable why it's even there. So I haven't been there, but I read about it, and I think I saw some documentaries about it. It's really, really interesting how the history and the heritage of Southeast Asia is still very much a mystery. I mean, there's a lot of things that we still don't understand about our ancient past. So anyway, fast forward to today's Laos. The government is trying really hard to ensure that tourism in Laos will be one of the most if it's not the most robust. Nowadays, people are going to Southeast Asia as a whole because it's cheap and it's exciting and it's something unique, Southeast Asian culture. I mean, for me, I love Southeast Asia. And also because it's also one of the government's goal, not just in Laos, but all over Southeast Asia, to implement and to explore the challenges of the ASEAN economic community next year. Last week, the Lao National Institute of Tourism and Hospitality hosted more than 80 public and private stakeholders in Lao tourism to the 15th Lanit Symposium in Luang Prabang to explore the implementation of the AEC this year. Lao is definitely making great progress here. What about Malaysia? Well, we are here to see for next year. So anyway, one thing interesting about Laos, because a lot of people do not know much about this country. I mean, even me myself, I know a lot about Cambodia, Vietnam, and Myanmar. I can tell the difference between all these three countries, but I can't really tell the difference between Laos against the other rest of the country, except that is mainly agricultural nation that is still very much underdeveloped, or the most underdeveloped in Southeast Asia. But a lot of people do not know that Laos has some 700 cultural, historical, and scenic attractions with tourism potential. So, Malaysians, fellow Malaysians, and fellow Southeast Asians, book your ticket to Laos via AirAsia, of course. They have the AirAsia pass, ASEAN pass they call it, and you guys should make Laos as one of your main destination to experience Southeast Asia. Nevertheless, a lot of things that they still need to do, in terms of improving the tourism industry there. For once, they need more hotels. They need a better way to trying to explain what Laos is to the rest of the world, because people very much do not know about what is Laos hospitality, Laos culture, and what's interesting about Laos. But it's definitely a country that is worth going for people who really love Southeast Asia and are curious what Southeast Asia can offer to them, especially people outside of Southeast Asia and within Southeast Asia as well. I give example of one place, Luang Prabang. I think probably people know of this area because it's quite famous. It's a UNESCO World Heritage listed center of tourism in World Heritage listed center of tourism in Laos. The city is located at a confluence of the Mekong and Namkhan rivers. It was the royal capital of Laos from 14th century until the monarchy was abolished in 1975. The city have a royal palace, such as architectural jewels at the steepled traditional homes, French colonial buildings, and National Museum. So yeah, everyone, let's go there. It sounds very tempting now. So anyway, that's all for our news today. I hope that we all can have a really interesting and end of the year this year. And for everyone, Merry Christmas, and don't forget to catch us on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram. Of course, you can always you can always listen to us at DurianASEAN.com or via TuneIn by search for Durian ASEAN on your mobile phone. We are going to continue with our Blast from the Grassroots soon. With that, stay tuned.